everyone, today in this video I'm excited to be checking out the BenQ GW2486TC. This is their 24-inch 1080p Full HD IPS display. BenQ did send me the sample, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this monitor or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. It's available in multiple sizes. We have the 24-inch version here, and you can see the 27-inch box hiding behind it. This monitor is really geared towards office and productivity users. We have adaptive brightness, BenQ's eye care mode. We have a coding mode built into this monitor. We also have a built-in noise canceling microphone, daisy chaining capabilities, and USB Type-C. Did I mention too, this monitor is available in white? Take a look at the retail box and packaging here. On the side, they have a couple more tech specs for us. 250 nits brightness and a 5 millisecond response time measured gray to gray. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature featuring our quick start guide, safety information, and warranty info. Next, you'll find 3 cables included. Power supply cable. We have a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable. And we also have your HDMI cable right here. Next, we have 2 pieces of the stand. So take a look at the high quality construction. And everything's going to be that matching white, which is great to see. Tool-free installation here too. Love that option there. Very simple and straightforward base plate to get everything connected together. And then lastly, we have the monitor itself. Let's look at this in more detail. Starting with the back of the monitor, we got the BenQ logo and branding front and center. Love the white finish with basically a pattern etched all throughout the back plastic cover. This is where the included stand's going to be installed. Looks like we got 4 screws we could remove for VESA mounting. We also have the stand release right there. Kensington security lock, product info. Now let's look at all of our I/O options here. So power, then we have display port out, display port in, USB Type-C in the center there, HDMI, and then 2 USB Type-A ports, and we have our headphone jack. So love seeing that. Then underside here, got our speaker grills. Then we have all of our control buttons and options with an illuminated power button. Take a look at the side profile. Here's a look at the top down. Here's a look at the very front. We have our microphone indicator there too. That's going to be the microphone and the light. Pretty sweet. BenQ logo and branding. We have our light sensors here. Take a look at the bezels along the side and the top, non-existent. But where the tip of my thumb is, that's where the pixels actually stop. So we have a little bit of black. And then the really slim white border there. Now let's go ahead, let's get this set up. All right, so we got our stand set up here, and I wanted to show you the functionality of this stand. Fantastic included stand right out of the box. This is how all monitor stands should be. First up, we have adjustable height, lowest height setting, maximum height setting, or you can land somewhere in between. Tilt down, tilt back. Let me show you that from the side here. Max tilt forward, max tilt backward. Then we have one of my favorites, swiveling to the left and to the right. Look at that swivel, amazing. Then we can actually rotate the monitor 90 degrees. So now we have our vertical or portrait viewing experience, and we can do that on either side. So depending on how you want the cables or whatever, you have both options there with this stand. So height, tilt, swivel, rotation, this stand has it all. Just for fun, here's a look at the 24-inch version and the 27-inch version, so maybe you can get a better feel in this video for the differences in size and which monitor might be right for you. Smaller at 24 or larger at 27. I try to position them at the same height and at the same spot on the back of my desk, so when you're looking at the camera, you can gauge, a little bit at least, what the screen size difference will be. When you look at them like this, it's kind of pretty eye-opening how much larger a 27-inch is versus a 24-inch monitor. Obviously, if space is a premium, you might have to go smaller. If it's not, or you want just a larger display, that's where the 27-inch might be better suited for you. Now everything's plugged in and powered on. Take a look at our display settings right here. 1920 by 1080p at 100 Hertz for the refresh rate. Menu time. Let's take a look at the built-in menu and settings for this display. So we'll bring it up right here and we'll cycle through each option. First up, we have our different input options, USB-C, HDMI, and DisplayPort. Moving further down, we have their learning section here. Let's go over there. So we have different visual modes that we can pick and choose from, and they will change how the display is going to look. And we'll come back and we'll look at this in more detail here in a minute with some footage. So pretty cool that we have those options there to adjust. And then same with the mode option, that's further down here. So we have different modes we can pick and choose from. And we'll pull up a video for that too, so you can really see how it changes the picture quality, depending on which mode you're after. Then we have our eye care section. Color section. Audio section. So speaker and microphone settings there. Custom options here. Choose the key settings. And then our system settings. OSD adjustments. Just toggle through each one so you can see the settings and what you can change here. Current monitor information, and then a reset for everything there. So very easy menu to navigate and find the setting that you're looking for. Simple and straightforward. So let's take a look at those learning settings in more detail here so we can see the different visual modes. That's care mode, coding mode. This is reading mode, and then e-paper mode. Back to care, back to coding, back to reading. We'll stay on reading. We'll cycle through again. E-paper, care, coding, reading. So they're each going to tweak and change it for sure. Right there, depending on which one you select. And then same thing can be said for the different mode options here. So we'll cycle through those. Eco, user, standard, low blue light plus, movie, game, M-book, sRGB, color weakness, eco. We'll just keep toggling through really quickly so you can see how the scenes change. The same scene changes and how those different colors look and work depending on which preset that you choose for the monitor. They really can change that pretty drastically. So my advice is just play around with that. It might truly be a case-by-case basis for you depending on what you're doing, right? Are you playing a game? You're watching a movie? Are you staring at your screen for a lot of hours? You want to turn on low blue light? Things like that. You will just have to get accustomed to the preset that looks best and works best for you. Moving on to our UFO test, we have two UFO tests to look at here. The first one's going to be our frame rate test. We have different FPS values or frame rates moving across this display, 1080p, 100 hertz, up to 100 FPS at the top there, followed by 50 and then 25. So you get the idea. This is just showing you that if you have that higher refresh rate and you can match or exceed the frame rate value to it, you'll get much smoother footage and gameplay. I know this is going to be more of a productivity monitor, but for some of you casual gamers out there, you might really appreciate the performance that you get with this monitor, especially if productivity is priority one, but you still want to have some fun gaming. You'll see that 100 FPS frame rate here at 100 hertz looks great. Very, very smooth. Definitely a lot better as you'd expect than 50 or 25 FPS. 50 might be bearable depending on your tolerance. 25 is definitely not going to be the way to go. Our second and final UFO test is our UFO ghosting test. Now take this with a grain of salt. You are watching a video of a camera pointed at a screen on your screen. There's only so much we can do, but I want to mention this and touch on this nonetheless. Hopefully this is better than nothing, but again, I know there's a lot of technical limitations there. Anyways, I'll just share my experience as we look at this UFO moving across the screen, and we're trying to get a better feel for the ghosting that we can see. We definitely have your typical ghosting, and I'd say that smearing of the UFO moving across the screen, some streaking towards the backside. I wouldn't say the UFO is super clear and crisp in its motion. as it's coming across. So depending on your tolerance for ghosting, for me personally, not a big deal. It's what I would expect for a monitor like this. I wouldn't say there's any glaring issues or anything out of the ordinary. Is it going to be the best of the best of the best in regards to no ghosting and the perfect gaming monitor? No, but that's not what this is. For casual gamers out there or those that aren't super bothered by some ghosting in their gameplay, this isn't going to be an issue for you. Next up is our web browsing test. Just want to show you a couple of popular sites here. So first we have YouTube with the trending page. I just want you to get a feel for the thumbnails, how everything loads, how clear, crisp it is, how responsive. Again, take it with a grain of salt. You're looking at a camera pointed at a display. In person, it looks fantastic. With this IPS panel, we have these large viewing angles too. So everything's nice and not distorted, even looking at it off from the side. And for those wondering, this is more of like a matte finish. It's not going to be a very glossy screen or display, which I really like. Kind of has a premium feel to it. Just the finish of everything. Next, we have The Verge, a popular tech blog. Wanted to show you again different images, fonts, I mean the ads and everything else in here. We can just click on an article too. Get a feel for the clarity. Again, much more enjoyable viewing experience looking at it in real life with your own eyes versus through a camera. But clear, crisp. No issues at all. And then if you want to do a little shopping, right? So you got your entertainment, your information, and your shopping. Take a look here. Super responsive. And everything looks as it should be. All right, now we're testing out the built-in speakers. Let's give it a listen. They're maxed out at 100. I'll adjust the volume up and down. We're listening to the song Dripping with Ice by Music Chef for those that are interested. But let's go ahead, let's listen in. So not bad. Honestly, I know they're computer speakers, but I've heard a lot worse. Typically, the sound quality, I'd say, would be about 2 or 3 rungs below what you're getting with these. It's not going to be the end-all, be-all to headphones or external speakers or soundbar or things like that. But if you're in a pinch, or if you really aren't that picky about your sound quality, compared to the competition, these are going to be a little bit better. Now we're testing the built-in microphone quality. This is your raw mic audio here, and I'm off to the side. So let me go ahead. We'll stand head on and start talking to the monitor to give you a better feel for the sound quality coming from this microphone. So if I'm at my desk and I'm typing right here, I'm taking my Zoom call, my meeting, whatever it may be, this is what you can expect it would sound like if you're facing the monitor. Now keep in mind, depending on how close you are or how far away you are, how loud you are, your room environment, you could expect something maybe a little bit different than what we have here in our studio. But this should be a realistic sample for you to get a better feel for the audio quality. And for those that are wondering, I can hit the button right here. And now it'll start recording again as soon as we unmute that. I really like that light and indicator and quick muting option. Really clutch. For you color snobs out there, we ran the monitor through display count. Here's a look at our findings. So in regards to sRGB coverage, we're showing 90.8%. For volume, 100.1%. For Adobe RGB coverage, 66.2%. And for Adobe RGB volume, 69%. And for DCI-P3, we have the same coverage and volume at 70.9%. When looking at this through the lens of other BenQ monitors, numbers, as well as just the averages overall, this is going to be a little bit below average in regards to the color accuracy and representation, but not bad by any means. Favorite test time, we're going to be testing out the input lag on this monitor. Now, input lag is the amount of time it takes for your monitor to display a signal on screen from when the source, in this case our magic red box, sends it. So let's go ahead, let's look at the different values and we'll check out the input lag. You want to see lower values for each quadrant. All right, first up, 1.4 milliseconds. We like to see around that 1 to 2 range there. 1 or lower is great. We don't see much lower than 1 up at the top. Next in the middle, we should be around that 8 to 9. So show about 9.1. And now at the very bottom, we'll be around 16. So that's as expected there. So not bad, very capable for what this monitor is. I know this monitor is very heavily productivity focused, but for you casual gamers out there, let's take a look at some gameplay footage on this monitor to get a better real world feel for how everything's gonna look. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you console gamers out there. So we have a PlayStation 5 connected here, and this is what you can expect. You'll be able to get 1920 by 1080p at 60 Hertz with this display. And same story here with the Xbox. We have the Xbox Series X connected. You'll be looking at 1080p Full HD at 60 Hertz. So where's that leave us with this monitor? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts. This monitor is really optimized for work and you could argue play. So super feature rich. I mean, we highlighted so many things, but there's so many things we didn't even cover, from the USB Type-C 60-watt power delivery to daisy chaining capabilities. We did showcase for a second, but they have the coding mode. There's a lot you could really deep dive into this monitor depending on how you want to use it. We can't forget about the built-in microphone, brightness intelligence, so very smart profiles and settings you can configure here, and it can read and adapt to your environment. The versatile stand, which I love. The white colors are great added bonus in my opinion. It's just a very capable monitor for work and play. Sure, in regards to that play category, it's not going to be the best spec out there, and you will see some ghosting and things like that, but again, it's still very capable nonetheless. They definitely make work the priority here, and it's great for productivity. I also wish, since we have that built-in mic, it just teases me and it makes me want to have some sort of pop-up or built-in webcam too. I'd love to see that in the future. I know at that point it's going to add an extra cost to this monitor, so then the value ratio may change a little bit too, but right now as it currently is, super capable, very feature rich, one of the most feature rich monitors we've seen in this particular segment, so the value is tremendous. I would like to see, like we said, the gaming performance improve, but again, that's really not its function in my opinion. Better for casual gamers, and again, productivity and work is going to be key with this monitor, but you can still enjoy it. But I'd like to see the colors improved as well too a little bit in the future. There's some wiggle room there compared to some of their other similarly priced monitors that we could get some even better color performance out of this one. For the average user or anybody to workplace, would they even notice or care? Probably not. So that's just me being very nitpicky on a really incredible monitor.